So my team sort of head up the programmatic sales, demand generation side of the business, as well as obviously the back-end yield and on optimization. And I think at a very broad level, like everyone else in the industry, we've seen that kind of GDPR shakeout, and we've seen from our side as a premium publisher that sort of shift away, I think, from people using sort of third-party audience data towards more contextual. So overall for us, it's been a boon. It's been a plus. GDPR for our programmatic revenues. Structurally, we're set up probably like everybody else. Really, we're we have a team that are dedicated at the back end. So we make sure all our kind of basics, our pipes are in place. We've got programmatic yield experts, we've got delivery people, but then at the front end, at the client-facing side of things, we're really moving towards that kind of integrated opportunity. So no longer will you have 5 people from The Economist talk to one client about programmatic and direct and native and content. So we have an integrated sales business. So our sales guys represent both the direct and the programmatic revenues. So from that perspective, that's really stood us in good stead, and to the point now where in that last month or two we've seen our deliberate programmatic revenues, which is PMPs and programmatic guaranteed buys, easily surpass and become the vast majority of our programmatic revenues.
So what are the expectations of brands around programmatic in terms of the supply? And you guys obviously have a very high quality supply, but what are their expectations and what is the value exchange and performance that they're looking for?
I think, as I said, more and more, I think they're really looking to make sure that their message resonates with that right, in that right environment, with the right audience if possible. And if context is a proxy for audience, then that's kind of what we're seeing more and more. Our product is not really something that would be used for performance marketers or e-commerce type marketers. So it's really about reach, scale, in front of the right person at the right time. I mean, it's interesting to see the sort of fear factor that was there in the market pre-GDPR and what it looks like now. And to a degree, I think a lot of that kind of hype and fear has not necessarily come to pass, certainly for the sort of mid to sort of premium publisher marketplace. I'm not sure how that kind of works for the long tail. Now that they're starting to get some sort of regulation and agreement in terms of frameworks, consent, we see it, but we're back to normal really. We're back to the sort of how we operated in the past is pretty much how we operate now. I think there's a big opportunity for us around audio. I think that's the sort of next area that's set for big growth in programmatic. We we publish something like 11 or 12 podcasts every single week. We're about to effectively almost double that in next month. And for us, the big opportunity for growth is as the market shifts from downloading podcasts to we're seeing biggest growth in streaming. The opportunity for audio to be sold programmatically is huge. So I see that as one area, especially as you start to see the at-home devices and new ad formats like 5-second audio. So I think that's a big area. And then sort of, I guess, playing on that to a degree, another opportunity for publishers like the Economist who have really strong content is how we seed that content and how we distribute that content. So I think there's a big growth area around things like Snapchat Stories, Facebook Watch, where we can monetize our programmatic content that is on third-party partnerships or third-party platforms. So I see that as being a big growth area for us and the market in particular, especially premium publishers, where no longer do people just consume content on the site or on the domain, on the publishers they go to, but actually how we can take advantage of the revenue opportunity off domain.
How do you see sort of programmatic and the attitude of brands around advertising in a news environment?
Sure, that's a good question. I think actually we are a newspaper, the Economist newspaper, so our view on it is that we give an opinion on the news versus not necessarily reporting on the news. And you're right, in that is everything from, included in that is content that typically an advertiser would not necessarily want to associate with. But more and more we see brands who, when you talk to them about why they are interested in these types of stories, it's because they don't want to be associated with sensationalism or the wrong type of content. But when it's an opinion on the news, then we see a lot less advertisers who want to block their advertising campaigns against that, what would typically be blacklisted content. I think overall the news, the whole sort of fake news, that whole story about what's been happening in the press over the last, say, 6 to 9 months, has helped us as a brand, because there has been that sort of flight to quality, or that Trump bump, as people call it, where people really take stock of what content they want to consume, and really make sure that the news that they consume comes from a trusted source. So that's really helped us, I think, as a brand, and helped underline what we do as a publisher, as a newspaper.